trying to go around and tell people, hey, I'm an animal chiropractor. Can I work on your horse? And they're like, I don't even know what that is. I barely go to a chiropractor as it is. It was really difficult back then. But now, we had a lady drive in from Mexico. She's like, I saw your stuff and I knew I had to come see you. So she brought her dog in. And we have people fly from California, or we had a lady fly from Spain with her dog, and just to come get it adjusted.
Hey, smart chiropractors, welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. Today, we have the opportunity to sit down with the man behind Oklahoma Chiropractic, Dr. Joren Whitley. You might know him as one of the most popular animal chiropractors on social media. Joren, thanks for taking some time and chatting with us today.
Of course. Thanks for getting a hold of me and allowing me to do this. It's going to be awesome.
It is our pleasure. I want to get to how you're currently utilizing social media to get the message out to literally millions of people worldwide. But before we get there, I'd love to peel it back. Animal chiropractic is a niche within a niche of chiropractic. What stimulated your interest in animal chiropractic early on to be such a big part of what you do today?
Yeah. So, very beginning, you being a kid, like Steve Irwin, like seeing the interaction with animals and realizing that I wanted to do something different. While getting into chiropractic school, I talked to my chiropractor and he was like, yeah, I had a chicken in the other day. Chicken? Like, why? With animals? And he's like, they have a spine. And I was like, oh man. So like to be able to be a voice for animals where, people were like, oh, I can help everybody in the family, but I'm sorry, I can't help your family pet. And so that kind of stoked the fire. And then I realized I can show chiropractic to people who have never seen chiropractic by showing them it works on animals. It can work on you too. So that's pretty much what got me into it.
Hey, Doc, do you have an email list of 300, 500 or more? If so, please connect with our team at thesmartchiropractor.com. With Patient Pilot, we can activate that email list and start generating reactivations into your practice each and every week. To schedule a demo and learn more, head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. Again, that is thesmartchiropractor.com. But right now, we'll head back over into this awesome interview on Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor.
It is phenomenal. I'm reviewing all of your social channels. You obviously love what you do. In fact, you sort of are a Steve Irwin chiropractor, so to speak. It's super obvious. How is that received? I mean, people, do they go, that's I mean, most people aren't used to going to their veterinarian and their primary, so they kind of think there's a separation. Do they make the connection? Do they go, wait, if it works for my pet, it'll work for me too? Or what's the reception for the most part?
That is actually the reception most of the time, is that people are like, wow, especially when they come in, they're like, wow, my animal can get adjusted. Do you have any openings in your office? Can I come in? I'd love to start seeing a chiropractor. Or it's, hey, I already have a chiropractor, but I realize that I can do it for me. Why shouldn't I not be able to do it for my animal? And so then they bring the animal in, and then I go, hey, when's the last time you got adjusted? Go back to your chiropractor. And what's great is we have veterinarians and chiropractors from all over Oklahoma that send people to me. So, we have veterinarians that come in. We have chiropractors come in. They're like, hey, I don't know how to adjust my own animal. Can you please help me out? So it's been really receptive there. Online, receptivity, it's hit or miss. It is online. It is the world. So we have a lot of people who have never seen chiropractic before and are blown away and astounded by what we do. And that leads them into thinking they might want to see a chiropractor, or bringing chiropractic to a whole continent or a nation. It just completely changes the atmosphere of that topic. And then, otherwise, we have a lot of people who think that I'm a crazy animal abuser and I'm just doing it for views. And the receptivity, we have the good and the bad. I'll just put it that way.
There's always the bell-shaped curve. If you think back to how your practice has evolved, number one, looking at your website, the facility looks amazing. Your practice looks amazing. How has your time shifted? In other words, when you came out, are you 50-50 animal to people? Were you mostly humans and now mostly animals? What does that look like today? And what did it start as you got into practice?
Oh yeah. So today, it's mostly people, and then we see animals at certain time frames of the day. So it takes a lot to come in and have a completely different mind shift from the everyday patient interaction to sitting there and going, okay, if I rush into this, I'm going to get bit. Or if I rush in with this horse, I'm going to get kicked. And so I have to change my mindset at different times of the day. So we have 4 hour time, or not hour time blocks, but we have 4 different blocks throughout the day that are about 30 minutes long, where we'll put animals into a time block. And then the rest of the day is for people. I did do it, where everybody was kind of in and out, and I had a completely different office at the time. And whenever I'm working on a dog and then a lady, it has a baby right next to it and the baby's crawling through hair, and it did not work out well. So we changed things up and have an office that has a completely different animal and human side. Like right now, I'm in my animal side of the office, and it's a little bit smaller. And then we have an entire area behind me where we can work on people. And then, but starting out, I mean, trying to go around and tell people, hey, I'm an animal chiropractor. Like, can I work on your horse? You know, and they're like, I don't even know what that is. And I barely go to a chiropractor as it is. It was really difficult back then, but now we have people that drive we had a lady drive in from Mexico. She's like, I saw your stuff and I knew I had to come see you. So she brought her dog in. And we have people fly from California, or we had a lady fly from Spain with her dog, and just to come get it adjusted. So it's been like way more receptive, and it's changed a lot where we have to be able to have the facilities to be able to take care of the people that are now realizing chiropractic for animals is a thing. So completely different from when I first started.
To your point, I've been seeing more and more and hearing more and more from chiropractors who are using social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, with that exact same story. People see them online from around the world, and they're jumping on planes, passing hundreds, maybe even thousands of other chiropractors on the way to come see you. What has that, are you surprised by that? What has that phenomenon been like for you? And I guess I'll ask, what has been your philosophy of social media altogether? It seems like I'm looking, you've had World Lion Day. I know you're part of the local zoo. You work with not just pets who come on in, not just horses, but lions, giraffes, the whole thing. Tell us about the zoo, and tell us about your philosophy as it relates to social media and the impact that's having worldwide, literally.
Oh yeah. So it's honestly a humbling experience, because you have somebody that drives so far to see you, and you're just like, let me find somebody closer to you. I feel so bad that you have to fly all this way. And then it's like that internal monologue, like that I am the best at what I do. And it's not that I may not be the best, but I tell myself I am the best at what I do. And that's why they need to come see me. And that's why I need to be able to help them, and it allows me to help them. And so after a while, it became this, like, just this acceptance of, people are coming to see you for a reason. Treat them as if they were here. Tell them exactly what they need. Don't say, well, come back whenever you can. It's, hey, your animal needs this, or as a person, you need this, and follow through with it. Now, if you need me to help you find something in your area, I will. And I'm so glad that you came to me. But it was really hard in the beginning to accept that I was good enough to do that. The social media stuff, it's been a whirlwind, because I originally had Facebook and Instagram, and sometimes it looks like you're putting a post-it or an ad in your building in the bathroom and going, man, I really hope everybody that drives by on the road sees this, because it's just so tight around the influence of people, unless you're like doing ads, or unless you like have this viral video take off or whatever. I actually posted a video to TikTok this was 2-3 years ago when it first came around. I posted a video to TikTok as a joke. And it was like, all right. And I posted this video of me working on one of Joe Exotic's tigers. And it was a baby lion or a tiger cub. And I'm adjusting it. And someone's like, animal abuse. And so they tagged it, and I was mad. And I sent TikTok a message. I was like, and I'm my animal chiropractor. Here's my license. And I posted another video right after that of me working on the horse. And it got like 40,000, or not 40,000, 40 million views in like less than 24 hours. And it was insane. And it sparked this whole thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole world out there that doesn't know about chiropractic. And it after my stuff got reinstated, I was all about just posting more and more and more to reach more and more people, which led me into working with the zoo. And the zoo, I've worked on a couple of things that are they're the property of the zoo. And so with that, there's only so much I can show of the zoo because it's their property, and because of maybe different restraining techniques and stuff. And in the United States, it's a completely different atmosphere when it comes to animal welfare and whatnot. And so the social media stuff eventually reached over to Africa. And I actually had a veterinarian from South Africa get a hold of me. And she was like, I really want you to come, and I want you to bring animal chiropractic to South Africa. I want you to bring it to the con. I want you to come down, and I want you to teach. And so I actually went, and this was a couple of months ago, I went over and taught veterinary students from America and from like Great Britain, England. I taught them or showed them chiropractic. And so I was able to talk to the veterinarians there. I was able to talk to like the local veterinarians, and I got to work on lions and giraffes and Cape buffalo and zebras and different impalas. And all of these animals that were 100% wild, they had to be darted from helicopters, or we had to capture them in some way. And then I was able to work on them. So it was a completely different experience than somebody bringing their dog in, or me walking into a room and there's an animal on an operating table and I get to work on it. So completely different experience. But with that, I mean, the social media has been able to expand not only chiropractic, but has been able to help me spread it even further, because those videos are showing like chiropractic can be done on anything with the spine. If it can be caught for purposes of research, or caught for medical purposes or whatever, we can also do chiropractic at the same time. So, I mean, social media has brought me so many awesome experiences. It's changed a lot in my office, in the number of patients we see from time to time. I mean, there's ebbs and flows of social media. And so we'll see a lot of patients whenever some videos take off, and then you see our, just regular patient base. And then it just depends on kind of what's going on.
That's fascinating. And it shows just how far reaching what you put out there can do, and how it can impact so many different lives and impact your own life and the trajectory of your own career as well. You talked about a lot of exotic animals there. I have to ask, what's the most challenging and what's the most exotic animal that you've taken care of?
Oh man. So there's a couple different ones. So I had an opportunity to work with a rattlesnake museum here in Oklahoma. And why I agreed, I don't know. But the guy brings out a rattlesnake, and he's got it by the head, and he's like, all right, this guy, he had this problem. Can you fix it? And I was like, sure. And so I'm working with this rattlesnake, trying, like, hopefully this guy doesn't let go and I don't get bit, and all this stuff is going on. So that was like challenging in itself. But then over in Africa, there's the idea of safety is kind of out the window when it comes to certain things. And we had to restrain certain animals in certain ways. And it's like, you jump on this animal and it's like, do not get up, or his head will come up and hit you and it will kill you, or whatever. And so the giraffe was probably one of the most difficult, because the other animals were sedated. And like the lion was sedated because of a surgery. The Cape buffalo was sedated because of transport. A giraffe, whenever it's sedated, it immediately has to come out of sedation unless it's being intubated, because it will something to do with like how the blood flow and the blood pressure and all these other things, it'll actually cause it to suffocate and it'll die. And so as soon as it goes down, we were running over and putting blindfolds on it and trying to restrain it in the best way we could. And while we were there, this thing kicked as he was coming out of it, after the vet gave it some sort of like reversal. It kicked this tree and the bark popped off the tree. And it wasn't a little tree either. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like real. This is bad. And they're like, get away from the head, because they have these ossicones, these big old bony protrusions that come off the top of their head. And they were saying that a guy had gotten too close to one, and it swung its head around and hit the guy and just busted his skull open. And so it was just this life. Yeah, this is just, oh my gosh, what am I doing situation. But trying to get in the moment of all the craziness and this thing going down and everyone's flying everywhere, trying to adjust and trying to be precise and in the moment, and all that stuff kind of went out the window. So that was probably like the most dangerous, crazy experience I've had so far. And probably the most difficult, because it's run and gun, and it's, I found something, and you adjust it, and you're like, it moved. Okay. It moved on. And then you let go and you move back. And it was completely different than anything else I've experienced.
Hey, it's Dr. Jason. I just want to take a brief moment and invite you to schedule a demo with our team to learn more about our Patient Pilot automated email campaigns. They are the smartest way to reactivate the people you've seen over the years in the past. Check it out, schedule a demo. We look forward to helping you help more people, piloting your patients back into your practice. Now back to our show. And completely different than anything else I've ever heard of chiropractors experiencing. So
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated. Joren, I think a lot of our audience is wondering, I wonder if social media will work for me in my practice. Short the rattlesnakes and the lions.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to other chiropractors? I'm assuming you get some that kind of ask you, what are you doing? Is it working? Is it worth it? And I'll just sort of ask you on top of that, you seem to do this for much more than what you're getting out of the deal. Maybe you can share more about your vision and your heart and your desire to use these tools, like BJ Palmer himself probably would these days, to really get the message out to the masses, as it seems that you're doing very well.
I would definitely say social media is one of those things that once you put yourself out of the public light, you are expanding like the knowledge of chiropractic, and you're expanding How many people see a chiropractor and they see it as this normal thing over and over and over again, and then they want to know more. Eventually, it's like, oh well, my back hurt. Instead of going for a pill, maybe I kept seeing that thing about that chiropractor, so maybe I should check it out. Not that we want to be the neck and back pain doctors, but more or less that it might be that key. I mean, I had to get hurt before I ever found a chiropractor, working construction, and then that led me into being a chiropractor. So it could be that entryway to allowing people to have a completely different life, just by you posting one little thing about how chiropractic can help babies, or whatever it is. So social media has been tremendous in expanding this network. I mean, a newspaper only goes so far, but some of the social media platforms can spread all over the world. I do think about BJ and all of the stuff they had to go through in their journey of, hey, you've never heard about this thing before, but let me tell you about how your life's about to be changed. And I feel like that's what we're doing with social media to an extent, where these people who have never heard of a chiropractor or animal chiropractic have been able to experience it for the first time through social media, and then they're able to experience it on their own. In the United States, you can't really go into a state without there being a chiropractor somewhere. But some of these countries you go to, there may not be a chiropractor in that country, on that continent, on wherever. And so we're able to take that person that on their lunch break actually flipped open and saw a video of me working on an animal or whatever, and then plant that seed in their mind of, hey, why do we have this here? Like, why isn't chiropractic a thing here? Why isn't animal chiropractic a thing here? We have so many people that are constantly contacting us like, hey, can you please come to Indonesia or Spain or this place or that place? Can you please come here, because there's nobody like you around? And then some of them like, we don't have chiropractors, which is kind of great, because you can go and then you can practice, and it's kind of like a mission trip, because it's not like you have this overseeing body, governing body. It's been great, but you do put yourself out in the public light. And so there is that negative aspect of it. If you do something that maybe you're not doing it for the right reasons, maybe you're doing it for clicks and views, and you're not doing it for the purpose of chiropractic, but you're doing it for yourself. You are in the microscope of millions of people potentially, and they will find you out about it. I mean, they will comment, and there are some positives and some negatives that come along with it. And it's eventually got to the point where I love my social media stuff, but with my platform specifically, and the number of people that follow us, I think it's 1.7 plus on a million on TikTok. I wake up some days after a video has been posted and have 3,000 comments of people calling me a quack or telling me that I'm BS or whatever. And so you also have to have a little bit of a tough skin. If you're not willing to put yourself out there and know, as a chiropractor, you are trying to make a difference, and it's for a greater purpose, then don't do it, because you will be tested and you will be tried, and you have to be able to stand your ground in that. And that's why I love doing stuff like this, because we can explain things, and that information can then be used by other chiropractors to help them explain why they're doing something that they're doing. The different studies on chiropractic and animal chiropractic and all these things. I actually just recently have had issues with whole groups of veterinarians that don't believe in what I do, but yet the veterinary Merck manual has chiropractic listed as one of the therapies they could do. There are chiropractic studies in the veterinary journal of whatever, their research platforms talking about animal chiropractic changing spondylosis in boxers, or changing in rats, and all of these different studies. It's absolutely fascinating. But it's crazy, because it kind of throws back to that whole, back in the day, the medical community versus the chiropractors. And it's a little bit of that. I mean, we are, we're accepted by so many people nowadays, and in our chiropractic bubble, we kind of think that the world's against us to an extent, because it has been for so long. And then we start realizing that it's not. I talk to the students about that all the time. I'm like, I promise you, not the entire world is not against you, but there are these groups that still are. And they try and they try and they try. And so it's just, anyway, going back to it, like, it's if you're going to jump out there, you have to be ready for the criticism that comes along with it.
That is very, very good advice. And we're going to drop all of your links down below. Everybody listening and watching, I know there are a lot of chiropractors out there that have very little experience, you alluded to it earlier, with animal chiropractic. So we're going to encourage everybody listening and watching, follow Joren. We're going to drop all of his links down below. We'll also drop any resources that we've talked about off air to ensure that you can gain information on an incredibly important and incredibly underserved community. We think humans are underserved. Animals are so underserved, so much far beyond what we see as people each and every day. Joren, you're doing a great job getting the word out there. Thank you for also
Appreciate it.
having the thick skin to take action, to show up consistently, and to highlight what you do and the wins you get along the way. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to chat with us today. It's been awesome to get to know you a little bit better, and keep up the great work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching this video on The Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.